Hi everyone, my name is Moni.
And I'm Naveen from Before You Play.
And today we're going to be previewing a game that is currently on Kickstarter called Bark Avenue.
Yes, this game is duly designed by Jonathan and Mackenzie Jungck, and it's published by TerreDice Games. And if you're not familiar with TerreDice Games, they also have a YouTube channel where they also create content, kind of like what we do. And so this is a game that they have designed and is now currently on Kickstarter.
Yes, and so in this game, you are dog walkers, and you're going to be doing everything that dog walkers do. You're going to be picking up dogs, walking around the neighborhood, and then trying to bring them back in order to score the most amount of points, earn money, get reviews, and earn tips. And so before we show you how to play the game, we do want to mention that even though this video is not technically sponsored by them, Dexter, our wiener dog, is making an appearance on one of the cards.
He is a cameo, yes.
Yes, so this is Dexter's in a game, basically.
Dexter's in a board game.
And this is Dexter. Dexter's our little wiener dog.
He's a little
miniature Dachshund.
Yeah.
And this is the card that's going to be in the game for him. And as you can see, there is a tennis ball in the picture because Dexter's favorite activity of all time is fetch.
Yes, he loves playing ball. He loves to chase after it.
Yeah, and they really did capture his likeness in that drawing. So
now, if you are interested in this game, there will be a link to the Kickstarter campaign down in the description where you can check it out. And also, if you do like these kind of videos and you want to see more in the future, please consider subscribing.
And with that, we are ready to begin. So if you'd please direct your attention to the center of the table, we're all set up here for our technically a 3-player game of Bark Avenue, but we only have player boards for 2. And so welcome to New York City, I believe.
You got Central Park.
Yeah, and then we have 2 opposite sides of Central Park that are going to be our neighborhoods or city streets where we're going to be walking the dogs. And so the way that the game works is we have a round tracker over here. Each round, each player is going to be able to take a turn each, and then the round tracker will move 1 space downwards. As soon as this round tracker gets to the very, very bottom of the round track, then the game will end. You go into final scoring at that point. And so each player has their own little dog walker meeple, and the beans is already on the board here. And each player's meeple is going to start on the board in a neighborhood or a district that their starting dog lives in. So I have Dexter over here. This is Dexter's card. And at the very, very start of the game during setup, each player is going to be given 2 dog cards. You choose one, as well as 2 of these resume builder cards, which are going to be endgame private, endgame objectives, basically. And so since we're not playing a full game of this, I'm just going to show you mine. At the end of the game, I'm going to get $4 per small dog walked, which is perfect, seeing as Dexter is a small dog. And then at the very, very, very bottom of the card, it'll tell you what percentage of the cards this can actually affect. So 30% of the cards are small dogs. So it seems like a pretty good endgame scoring card for me.
For me, I have this one, $4 per East Side dog walked, which is 50% of the cards in the deck.
Oh, that's real nice.
Pretty good.
So let's find them. So since Dexter lives in Lincoln Square, I'm going to place my meeple out here. So then what you're going to be doing on your turn is the very first thing that happens is you're going to roll one of these 2 dice. This is the city die, I believe, and this is the park die. So you roll the die pertaining to which location you are currently at. So since I'm in the city, I'm going to roll this one. And then you basically just resolve whatever the die face is. This is poop, which I think is the majority of the symbols on both dice. And so as you can see, each player has their own player board that hosts the dogs that they're walking up top. At the start of the game, you only have 2 of these spots available. The third one you have to unlock over the course of the game. And then at the bottom of each section, there are 3 different parameters that you're going to be trying to fulfill before you drop the dog back off at home. And one of those parameters is making sure the dog goes potty. I'm going to take a poop token and place it on that spot right there so that when I drop Dexter off later on, this is going to get me 1 tip because you get 1 tip for each of these that you were able to fulfill.
Again, because you're dog walking for owners of these dogs. So the owner is going to give you a tip for happiness.
Yeah, you want to make sure the dog goes on a potty, right? When they're walking.
They don't want to deal with it.
And by the way, these tokens, all of these pieces are prototype. And so specifically the poop tokens are going to be much spongier and just higher quality in the final edition.
From what I understand, they're going to be bigger and a little squishier.
Yes. And so once you've resolved the die, then you're going to walk. And your walking speed is dictated by the slowest dog that's in your pack. So before we move on, let's go ahead and take a look at the anatomy of a dog card because this tells you all the information that you need to know. At the top left-hand corner of the card, it tells you the distance or the speed that the dog walks at. Dexter is quite fast because Dexter can walk 4 spaces. Little do they know, Dexter is actually quite bad at walks.
Dexter's not a big fan of walks.
No, he'll start the walk refusing to walk. So we have to carry him for like the first half
Yes.
And then eventually he'll start walking. As soon as he knows you're on the way home, he'll do the 4-speed walk.
Like if we go on a 20-minute walk with Dexter, if you're just going to walk down the driveway, he's just going to plant like this. So we have to physically pick him up. We just know this now. We pick him up, we walk him about 5 minutes in our arms, then we put him down, and then he's willing to walk.
And then he's got the 4-speed. So in this game, Dexter's quite fast. To the right of Dexter's name, you have a symbol that stands for their favorite activity. So Dexter's is a tennis ball, which stands for, of course, playing fetch. There's also the fire hydrant, which is like the dogs like to sniff during the walk. And then there's the water drop symbol, which means they like to splash in water and puddles. Below the tennis ball will tell you whether the dog is a solo walker, whether they're okay with being in groups, or if they're a foster dog. Dexter is a solo walker, which is quite accurate in real life. As you can see underneath his name, it also tells you what other size dogs that they are not compatible with. So as you can see here, Dexter is a small dog who is not compatible with literally any other dog, which is also quite accurate.
Very true.
And then on the very left-hand side of the top of the card, you have the number of rounds that you must walk the dog before you can drop Dexter off. So on Dexter's card, we have a 2-paw symbol. So you have to be walking Dexter for at least 2 rounds before you drop him off. And then, of course, at the very bottom, it tells you where Dexter lives, as well as how much money you're going to get for bringing Dexter home, which is $14. Seeing as Dexter is the only dog in my pack right now, I have a walking speed of 4. So you must walk exactly that many spaces. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you cannot backtrack during walks. Once you finish your walk, then you can take one of 3 different actions. The first action you can take is you can pick up a compatible dog. And this is the dog display up here. These are going to shift downwards every time we pick a dog. And so I can only pick up a dog with this action as long as the dog is part of this neighborhood. Right now I'm in the park, so none of these dogs will apply. The next type of action you can take is you can drop off a dog. Now you can only drop off a dog if you have enough tokens here as a paw symbol on the dog card. So right now this is a 2. I don't have any walk symbols because I barely walked Dexter. So I cannot drop him off just yet. And so finally, the third type of action, which is the one I'm going to take today, is just performing an activity at the location that you're in. So right now, there are these rectangular boxes that have symbols pertaining to what activities you can do there. In the area that I'm in, I can play ball, I can have the dog splash, or I can do this bottom action, which is not available to me right now, which we probably won't discuss during this video. So then I'm just going to go ahead and take that action and play fetch with Dexter, because that'll meet this requirement. So I'm going to take my activity token and cover this up. So now if I were to bring Dexter back home, I'm going to get 2 tips because I've done 2 out of the 3 of the things that Dexter wants to do. Once I finish my action, then I go into the upkeep phase, which is basically marking that I've walked Dexter for 1 whole round, which is in the form of these paw tokens. I'm just going to go ahead and place that over here, and then I would end my turn, it would go over to Naveen.
So fast forwarding a little bit for me, on my turn, I picked up Bear, who lives here, and then I walked Honey as well, putting this paw symbol for Honey.
That would mark the end of the round. So then we would move the round tracker, and it's going to cover up this next spot that has a green card symbol. These are events. You just flip the top card over, and it lasts, well, it depends on what kind of event it is. This is a competition. So this one makes you do things immediately. This says replace all available dogs with new dogs.
Gotcha.
But that is just an example of how these event cards work. There are several different types of events. All of the red ones are immediately. The ones that are green are in play until the end of the round. So this is a dead battery. No walkers can use the take photo this round. And so those are just a couple of examples of what the event deck looks like. And that's pretty much the majority of the gameplay. The only other thing is when I do go to drop Dexter off in Lincoln Square next round, the way that works is I would get 1 tip for each of these that I was able to fulfill. So I will get 3 of these tip cubes. And in addition to the tips, I can potentially have a review written. And so if you look at this side of the board, this tells you all of the different star ratings that you can potentially score. And so it's going to be stuff like doing a solo walk, which is what we just did with Dexter, or having a perfect walk, which is also something we did with Dexter because we were able to satisfy all 3 of Dexter's wants/needs. And so the way that this works is I would look to the right-hand side of my player board and I would remove the bottommost disc and place it on one of these ratings that I was able to fulfill. So in this example, I did a solo walk with Dexter. I'm going to place that there. And now it unlocks a benefit. Some of these are really sweet, like this third one basically unlocks your ability to hold a 3rd dog in your pack. Something gets you a coffee or treat. And I believe at the very, very top here, it's just $10.
$10 at the end of the game.
This is definitely something you're going to want to do over the course of the game.
Now, these spacers are not exclusive. I do have the ability to come in and also place my token there.
Yeah. And the very, very last thing is once I drop Dexter off at home, clearly I won't have any dogs with me. Whenever you're not carrying any dogs, your movement is a distance of 4, and you can take these subways. So there are 4 different subway trains throughout the map. There are these purple symbols here. And basically when you're next to a subway, you can spend 1 movement to move from one to another. So just kind of a way for you to get across the board faster.
To zoom around, because you're going to want to look and see what dogs are out there and how you can get access to them as fast as possible.
Right. And that's pretty much it. As soon as the game ends, we're going to calculate our final scores. You turn in each tip for $2 each, and then you see whoever has most money, and that player wins. Tips can also be spent during the game to purchase treats, which basically eliminate all of the compatibility restrictions on the dog cards, as well as purchasing coffee at the coffee shops that are spread out throughout the board. There's one here in Columbus Circle.
There's one in the West End.
I wonder if that's accurate.
Probably.
And coffee, by the way, gets you an extra action for 2 rounds. So the coffee can be very, very, very useful.
So that's essentially how you play Bark Avenue. This game is currently on Kickstarter, so if you are interested in it, there is a link in the description down below. If you do have any questions, we can also answer those in the comments as soon as we have convenience to do so. And thank you all so much for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more like this in the future, please consider subscribing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.